speaking from the global Silicon Valley perspective, you're gonna think I'm being facetious when I tell you this, but I am dead serious. I think this is how it works, which is that in Silicon Valley, we throw a lot of stuff up against the wall, and about 1 out of 100 or 1 out of 200 sticks to the wall. And then we go up to the wall and we take our paintbrush and we paint a bullseye around what's stuck. And we say, we hit the bullseye. Yeah, I mean, it's very easy to hit the bullseye if you paint the bullseye on the wall after you see what's stuck. And I mean, let's just be a little bit of a devil's advocate myself. So, if I came to you and I said, okay, we have this thing where you can send out a 140 character message and people are going to use it to say, oh, the line at Starbucks is long, and you can include a video and a picture, and someday people are going to be using it to, spread news, spread rumors, good and bad, and it's going to be the default way for people to communicate news. You would say, well, have you heard of text messages? Have you heard of, all these other systems? And you say, no, we're starting Twitter. This is completely different. Like, who would fund that? Or two guys come to you and they say, we need infinite bandwidth. We need infinite storage space because we want people to shoot video and upload it for others to see. And what's going to make us tip is when people drop Mentos into Diet Cokes. That's going to be the pivot turning point for us. And we're starting a company called YouTube. And I'm telling you, as you go down the line, if you are honest, if you're intellectually honest, you say to yourself, I would have never funded that. That is so stupid. I mean, and now Theranos was one where everybody thought they were so smart and it blew up. And so I'm trying to tell you that it's very difficult. I mean, that's why venture capital is so hard. If venture capital were easy, if we were, if venture capitalists were accurate and right 9 out of 10 times, it would be a different world. But let's face it, we're right 1 out of 10 times, and that's doing very well. So I'm not trying to be evasive, but I'm just trying to tell you that if I were giving you about the richest vein, about figuring out which companies to back and what's purpose and what's just bullshit. So these are some things that I think that can help you increase the probability. So number one is, I think you look for a team that is not market driven, but they are creating something that they themselves want to use. So the market is them. And I would say that describes Facebook. It describes Apple. Steve Wozniak was not driven by Accenture or McKinsey forecast for the size of personal computer. Steve Wozniak built a personal computer because he wanted a personal computer. And thank God that he wasn't the only nerd who wanted one. That's the genesis of Apple. Let's be honest. Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg needed help getting dates. He had to do that. I mean, so now, you could make the case, well, just because two co-founders want something, that doesn't mean anybody else does. And that is absolutely true, but at least there's two customers, which is, maybe two more than most startups. So I think that's one way to increase the vein. I would also say that, I don't know how to say this delicately, but I think successful tech CEOs, they're on the spectrum. They're OCD, they're ADHD, they're like not exactly people you might want to hang out with. I mean, you got to be a little bit delusional and weird to be a successful tech CEO. I would also say a rich vein is that they are, Donald Trump's going to hate this, but I think first or second, maybe third generation American, that is helpful too. By the time you get to the third or fourth generation, that's when you start getting the entitlement syndrome. But if your parents came over, from South Vietnam on the last helicopter out of the U.S. Embassy, and the U.S. Navy plunked them down in Bakersfield, California, and they started running a liquor store and a 7-Eleven, and they saved all their money to put their kids through school. That's who I would back. A lot of political things going on in a staff meeting. So the way a pre-mortem works is, the purpose of the meeting is that everybody mentions everything that could cause the failure of a project. So the rule is nothing is out of bounds and nothing is political, because you can all mention everything that could possibly go wrong. And then you go down that list and you try to eliminate things one by one, so that there's the major factors that could cause you to fail are eliminated. I think that's a very good way to test assumptions, that you bring process of innovation has changed that much. And it involves, working backwards from your customer, not working forward from what you like to do, which is to say, don't be Kodak. Kodak liked putting chemicals on paper and liked making film. But if you work back from Kodak's customers, they wanted to preserve memories. So the irony is that Kodak invented digital photography, but has never embraced it. And so that's why they're gone. But if they had worked backwards from their customer, they would have figured out, oh my God, we're in the preservation of memories business, not the chemicals business. And they would have embraced digital photography. So that's the kind of principles I put in that talk. And I still stand by that talk.